Everyone, sorry about this. I have no idea what's going on. Whenever I schedule a live stream, it doesn't seem to want to work. So I hope that people will start turning up and won't have lost the will to live like I am losing the will to live. There's no one even here, and I'm just talking to a computer. So yeah, how disappointing. My lack of skills, lack of audience, and yeah, YouTube just not compatible with me. Hello, both. Hi, MJ. Sorry about this, everyone. I I did anticipate it, but I was too lazy to figure out how to overcome the problem in advance. I just, demand avoidance. What's it? Executive dysfunctioning. I just thought, no, I can't be bothered. I'm just going to anticipate the same problem, hope that it won't be there. But if it is there, I'll do what I've just done, which is set up a new live stream. So I hope I've not lost loads of people. Um, so yeah, good to see you. I've got stacks of poetry. So that might be the second reason to put you off this evening. First one being my lack of technical ability. I've been a good boy. I'm on the coffee, not the red wine that's sitting downstairs. Hi, Sienna. I love seeing these familiar names. They are familiar now because you're my chums. It's weird, isn't it? 'Cause we're not even met, but you're my friend group. So yeah, I've got poetry, and yeah, thank you, Richard. No need to be sorry. It's working out all good. Yeah, I just hope that the people who put this in their calendar, like the highlight of their month, won't be put off by having to go into another live stream. But I think it's pretty intuitive just to refresh the screen. And if it isn't, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to fix this one. I just can't be doing this all the time because it's annoying for you as well as me. Anyway, we're here now. 10 people, wicked. You only need one. Well, you need two people to make this work. You need me, obviously, or not me, you mean you if you're doing your own live stream, and someone else to bounce ideas off, have a conversation. That's the way. That's how, that's how you describe it. Bounce ideas off. See, this is the practical, logical direction that I need to go in any conversation. I need to know what the purpose is, and yet here I am waffling on, being a complete hypocrite. Russell, you just watched the info dumping video. Oh, yeah, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. I did two skits, but that wasn't planned. I did a skit which was going to go into the kindness video, and I just thought, nah, it doesn't really fit with the theme. So obviously I wanted to use it, and then I thought, oh well, I'll do a video based on the skit, which is the wrong way around, really. And then I thought, oh, I'll do another skit, do a bad joke, dad joke. So that's why you got two for the price of one in the info dumping video, which was a short video, but trust me, it took me about 10 hours to make. I'm not after a medal, I'm just making the point that I spent way too much time making these silly videos, but they keep me sane. Auditing with Autism is here for the poetry. I will get onto the poetry very soon. Sorry, I might be disappointing people. They can come on. We want the poetry. Normally the opposite is true in my life. People say we don't want the poetry. Go away, or they just say go away because I'm autistic and they didn't like me. Yes, Sienna. I've just glanced at comments underneath the info dumping video. Sorry, I've not responded to them, but I had to. Well, I didn't have to, but I chose to upload the video and then make tea for my family, and here I am. And yeah, I did glance at some comments, so thank you, Sienna. I'm glad I made you laugh with the comment about music info dumping. It's just my world. Just nothing better. Music, in my humble autistic opinion. Thank you, Richard. You're schizophrenic unless your wife looks just like you. No, Rachel does not look just like me. Um, well, I don't think so. Ooh, I'm gonna go out with someone who looks like me. Yeah. Sorry if you do go out with someone that looks like you. Yeah, I don't tend to go around looking for my doppelganger, going, "Ooh, I fancy you," because to be like fancy myself, and I really don't. But I clearly like wearing women's clothes. Discuss, which we are. We're discussing it. Sheesh, 10 hours. Yeah, I probably no, I'm not overestimating. Say no, I'm not after praise or a medal, a virtual medal. I'm just telling you. Um, and I love it. Don't get me wrong. It's not hard. I choose to do it. Um, hyper focus is brilliant. Hyper focus, solitary activity. I've said all this before in another live stream. I'm saying it again. Um, yeah, 10 hours. So, like the one where I'm in the toilet, uh, maybe took an hour to film. So just an hour for filming. Setting up, dropping things, putting on the clothes, doing retakes, so they capture all the traffic outside. Um, then editing that's another 2 hours because I'm fussy and I need to make it right. Um, and then the other skit, the Alanis Morissette one, that took even longer. And the actual video, at least 4 hours. It's all good fun though. I love it. But thing is, as soon as I finished it, making a video, I'm like, so what? On to the next one. But I think that's I don't know, ADHD thing. I don't know. Right, just catch up in the comments now. We'll get to the poetry. Um, will the wine come out after the cuppa? You're tempting me. No, I don't. I don't think it will, because I'd have to leave the room, and then people will leave the chat room, leave the live stream, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to risk that, and I don't need it. I'll have a drink tomorrow. Not too much. Trying to stick to twice a week, and maybe get to a point where I don't need to drink at all. But I do enjoy it. My work is very stressful, and yeah, if only just doing YouTube could erase all my stress. But unfortunately, I'm not at that point yet. Scott, if it weren't for unconventional friends, I'd have none. Yeah, all my friends are unconventional. No, most of them are. Um, Here we are, just catching up. Thank you, Tim. Thanks for your comment as well on the video itself. Um, just catching up. Lovely poem. Cheers. Yeah, I don't. Oh, I've got poetry. I've got an autistic love poem. Where did I put it? But yeah, I normally don't write serious stuff because I know it's a fear of being vulnerable. I think one reason why I messed up my wedding speech is I didn't want people to see that side of me. Um, so I've always played it for laughs. Hence the silly skits. Can you have a non-silly skit? Um, can't find it. Oh, anyway, I'll read a non-romantic poem based on a true story. It's very, very short. You ready for this? Drum roll. It's called The Time Doctor. Okay. So he was a time management specialist who could save me 2 hours a day. He offered to meet me again. The next day, I saved 2 hours by not meeting him. Time management specialist. No. You're making a living out of that. Unbelievable. I can save you 2 hours a day. I can save myself 2 hours a day by never seeing you again, which is just what's happened. I've not seen him in 6 years. So I hope you like that. That's like probably sort of mid-level, sadly. Yeah, that's like a 5 out of 10 maybe. Don't get much better. Let's just catch up in the comments. Um, TMS, there was a woman at work who looked more like a man than her husband. Okay. I'm not quite sure what to say about that. You know, I appreciate difference in the world. I'm autistic. I'm more minded to appreciate diversity. So I'm all for that. Who cares? You be you. You be you. Um, three of us from Minnesota in the chat. God, there's something about my brand of autism that goes down well in Minnesota. It must be the Scandinavian influence. So I'm, you know, 75% Scandi. So yeah, Minnesota, Wisconsin, all those upper Midwest states. Upper Midwest states? I'm trying to be clever. I don't know my geography. So yeah, maybe it's that. Um, you can imagine a lot of editing with the editing. Yeah, and I get a bit OCD perfectionist about making it right. But you know, if it makes you laugh, it's worth doing. Mark's here. Hello, Mark. Mark's a former colleague of mine. So Mark, I don't know if you oh you is it LOL, so I'm assuming that's about the poem. Yeah, I met a guy a time he's called himself the Time Doctor, as in like I don't know, Doctor Who or something. And he had like the little business cards with a clock on it, like Time Doctor in massive capital letters. And I was immediately amused by this. And I was even more amused when he stood up at some sort of horrendous business breakfast. Why was I there? I had to get the bus as well. It's a right effort. Um, oh, somewhere, Mark, you'll know, but in between Bromsgrove and Birmingham, somewhere. Oh, blimey. Really early morning breakfast. And I didn't know I was autistic at the time. Like I said, about 6 years ago. And so, you know, you have to stand up and say like who you are, where you're from. Um, yeah, so I hated that. But it's almost my hatred of the whole premise was pretty much cancelled out by this one encounter with the Time Doctor. I probably wrote the poem on the bus. It's not even a poem, it's just a joke, as most of my poems are. Um, but whenever I've read it, it's usually got a laugh. So that's the first one of tonight. See how we get on. Hi Juju, good to see you. Nice to see some newbies as well. How many? We've got 13 in the room. That'll do for me. That'll do nicely. I used to live just outside Bromsgrove while I was at uni. Ooh, MJ, cool. Because you're in Stirling, aren't you? Um, so yeah, I'm guessing you went to Birmingham University. Am I allowed to ask that? You don't have to disclose. I'm going to drink my cold coffee now. Oh, that was horrible. That shows how much of that I've been doing. That is the point of this. Um, Brum University with the clock tower. The Time Doctor. See what my brain did there? Yeah, the Time Doctor would have loved Birmingham University because Birmingham University's got a massive clock tower. No, he wouldn't. He would have just glanced at it and gone, "That's a clock tower." But in my head, he would have found it really fascinating. Russell, I can't even drink alcohol. My stress, self-medications, or chocolate and biscuits. I've been trying to abstain. Good luck in the abstinence. Um, and go you. You've got alternatives. I think trying to just quit anything without an alternative is, well, incredibly hard. I'm not going to say it's a lost cause. Um, so yeah, I drink a lot more coffee now because my brain's like, I need something. So if it's not going to be alcohol, it's going to be something. So coffee is the alternative. Right, another poem. Um, well, the Scottish graduate. What a there we are. This one's for MJ, the Scottish graduate. Um, okay, you ready for this? It's 4 lines. Elaine is about to get married. Then Dustin McHoffman turns up, and at the last minute, there is a change of clan. No? Okay, fine. Fine. You're not gonna clap, then I might stop doing this and just switch off and stomp upstairs and have a sulk. And I'm really good at sulking. Really good. Can I repeat that one? Oh, I'm guessing because my volume and diction was so poor, and not because the poem was so good that you want to have it again. I will be clearer and louder. The Scottish Graduate. Elaine is about to get married. Then Dustin McHoffman turns up, and at the last minute, there is a change of clan. Tumbleweed, but I'm used to that. It's all good. See, these poems been stashed in a folder. Look at all the poems, probably about 20 years worth of dead trees. Would have been better to have saved those trees, to be honest. But here we are. Wrote a lot of the poems in Bromsgrove, funnily enough, when I lived there. Not funny at all, but I've shared that piece of information. Okay, here's one about my son. It's a clan plan pun. Yeah, I was thinking I should do a flan pun with that as well. Yeah. Oh, Sienna, I'll be performing for a winter concert for music therapy. Cool. I've just found out my daughter is going to Belgium and the Netherlands, Belgium and the Netherlands, in October for a music trip. She's going to perform in an orchestra, and I'm paying for it. I'm not even going. 800 quid. Bye. No, it's all worth it. Right, Kate. Talking of kids, this one is called The Short of It, and you didn't understand the pun. Ah, sorry. I'm going to struggle to please everyone because I'm quite reliant on puns. Just pretend to laugh. That's what my audiences usually do. My audience is of upwards of 15 people, if I'm lucky. Yeah, my daughter's got selected. Just amazing. She's going to Brussels and Amsterdam, and I was just like the most jealous I've been in decades. Right. Um, Sienna's playing piano and singing. Hopefully not at the time that I'm sharing this absolutely brilliant poetry. I want you all to concentrate. Thank you very much. Right, the short of it. This is about my son. It's another very short poem. Oh, I see what I did there with the title. It's clever. No, it's not clever. The short of it. He struggles to see things from other people's point of view, wrote his teacher in his report, which was a polite way of saying he was a psychopath and unusually short. Yeah, my son is not a psychopath. I just thought it'd be funny to pretend that he is. Um, my son is autistic like me, which means he's amazing, of course, and like you, if you are autistic. So we're getting through the poetry pretty quickly. I'm gonna have to write some more. I'm gonna have to write some in the live stream. I didn't think I'd have to do that. Oh, I've got a book of poetry because I'm really clever and all that. It's called exclamation marks. And annoyingly, for me, it was published 9 years ago, and I haven't published a book since. And COVID's only really partly to explain that gap. I I just assumed because I was really lucky. I met these couple of guys who just started a poetry press, and I was their first book. So it's just timing. Um, I thought, oh wow, I'm going to have a book out every 2 years. That didn't work out. So yeah, I've only got one book, but time got concoctor sublime, but only at tea time. Yeah. By the way, do what Mark's doing. Oh, and I've just remembered. Jeanette sent me a poem, and I asked her permission to share it because it's really funny. Um, what she said. You're welcome. I'm also making tea. Da, 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 you're more perfect. So I'm going to share Jeanette's poem as well. So yeah, if you're feeling inspired, please, if you want to, share it in the chat board. That'd be amazing. And then I'll steal your your work and claim it as my own. Um, I thought student exchanges between the UK and EU are almost impossible now due to Brexit, though it's good that Labour recently agreed the youth mobility arrangement. That's probably, well, I don't even know if it's an exchange, but I would have thought there'll be some element of exchange. Good point, Russell. Um, yeah, this book came out like 2 months before Brexit. That's how long ago. Although it took them about 8 years to sort Brexit out, or they haven't even sorted it out, have they? Um, Autistic Margot is page turner, or so am I. That's what I'm going to do now. And what am I going to read? Oh yeah, okay. I'll read a love poem, but as I said, it's silly one. I was today years old and I realised that Neil Alien is a palindrome. That's the best thing I've heard today, other than Jeanette's email. Fantastic, Neil Alien. I should have picked that as a name for my channel. Anyway, this one's called Gloves. We were in love. We were like a pair of gloves. But, as often happens to gloves, we drifted apart. I found you, and you were smitten with a much younger, richer, and more attractive mitten. True story, that. So yeah, thank you, Tim. I'm loving the clapping emojis. There's been a distinct lack of those this evening, but I won't hold it against you. Right. I'm going to have to up my game, clearly. You're a hard audience. No applause. I've just read the back, the about section, so not even a poem. This won't surprise you at all, but if you watched at least one of my videos, get this. About the author. Neil used to dress up. Well, that's a running theme, isn't it? I'll finish the sentence. Neil used to dress up as Tony Blair and assumed that people would interpret this habit as a protest rather than a tribute. I don't think they interpreted it as a protest. They just thought I was mad. So, that's what I did for 5 years. Commitment to the cause, to the cause of cross-dressing, which, as I said about 20 minutes ago, fine. Well, I didn't say that, but I kind of implied it. Cena does improvisational music. I've always played by ear. I've never read sheet music. They do have sheet music for the blind. Yeah, go and see Sienna's work. It's just great, and not something that, well, I'm nowhere near what she can do. Very talented. Mark, understand me. You don't know me because half of me doesn't want to be the other half of me. Like that. Philosophical. Love it. Auditing with autism, clapping while working. I hope I won't get you into trouble. It's your choice, I suppose. Russell, I remember having mittens connected with the length of the wall so that they can't be lost or separated. Yeah, I tried that with my wife. She didn't like it. She said, I'm an independent woman. I don't need a length of wall to stay connected. I was like, what if I lose you? That's why I've got the length of wall. And she said, don't be silly. And then she left, and I couldn't find her for a day because I didn't have the length of wall. So there we are. Margot, I'm enjoying this poetry punch out. I'm working though at the same time. Yes, problem. I pick 7:30 on Friday, because it suits me basically. And anyone I say anyone in the UK, a fair amount, I would suppose, a fair amount. 16 people maybe. But I did try live stream at silly o'clock. 11:30 at night in the UK 2 weeks ago, and amazingly, people turned up. So any point in the day is fine. Yeah, nice work, Mark. Very profound. Good. Sucky approach. Sienna, you can't be good at everything. You're wicked at music. Can't be great at everything. Come on, let's have something. Have I met Spoz and Jemima? I have, Mark. I have. I read at, what was it? Speak Your Mind in Redditch, probably about 2 years ago now. God, time flies. It's really good fun though. Getting to Redditch is a pain. Being in Redditch is a pain. Sorry. Um, I used to be able to read sheet music. Now I probably can't, but I can play my clarinet along to my Spotify playlists. Cool. Um, Last week was too late. Yeah, it was a bit silly, but I just couldn't sleep, and I wanted to check the kit, and then the kit started not working this evening. Oh, get over it. Time difference is hard, but yeah, yeah, can't please everyone. Speak your mind. Yeah, I should make more of an effort. Not done a reading for a long time. Kind of because I'm doing YouTube now. Um, doing YouTube. Spending a lot of time making videos. And I can't get out of these evening meetings, and so doing poetry readings on top of everything else just seems an indulgence too far. But yeah, maybe when I lose one of my commitments, I can do more poetry. Oh, I applied to read at Glastonbury Festival, but that won't go anywhere. But you've got to be in it to win it. If you don't try, you never know. Right, what have we got here? Oh, dreadful poem. Um, you'll hate it. It's about, you know, stand-up poetry or public poetry. It's called Performance Pet. Since sharing his work on stage, he's really come out of his cage. Now he's a multi-slam winning pet, held in high budgie regard. Yeah, sorry about that one. It's even worse than I remembered it. Uh, Sienna felt Braille on his music was complicated. Yeah, keep talking, people. 7 a.m. in Australia on Saturday morning. So I've said well not to be here. No, Richard, you legend. I hope I'm not messing up your body clock. But if you have messed up your body clock by staying up to watch this, you know who you can call. That's right, the Time Doctor. He will help mend you. Um, Solipsistic baby, love it. What I just read. Thank you. If that's what you're loving at the moment, but yeah, it's quite an old one that. Um, Sienna, I recently uploaded a video talking about how I use the word squeak in everyday life. I was surprised that it got so many views. Oh wow. I'm gonna have to write this. I've got a notepad. I thought people would start sharing wicked things. So when I say wicked, I mean cool, because I'm a 90s kid. Wicked. Um, Let me get my notepad. In fact, I'll just use the poem that I've been, you know, sharing rather embarrassingly because it's not very good. Um, so Sienna squeak video. Thank you. And any recommendations? Any philosophical sayings like Mark's already shared? Then let me know. Any random facts? Any palindromes? Alien Neil Alien. Just keep it coming because I'm an info dumper myself, so I love it when people info dump to me. Um, Time Doctor sounds like a Doctor Who foe. He sounds like a man making a career out of nonsense to me, but each to their own. I mean, good for him. Um, I missed you at Jenny's premiere last night. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I just couldn't be there, but yeah, go and see Autistic Jenny's. I can't type. Autistic Jenny's video on imposter syndrome. There's about 10 people involved in that one. It's a collaboration, and they're really very, very validating. Um, it's just such a good idea. Um, so well done, Autistic Jenny, and she makes her own videos not just collaborations. Yeah, big inspiration to me when I started doing this channel. Her and Paul at Adult with Autism really kept me going in the early days and still do. Mark, take care. Best of luck to your daughter. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, see you soon. Should use the word radical more often. Who was using that? Yeah, let me just catch up on the chat. Cool. I'm gonna have a sip of water. Bear with me. So just close up my double chin. Sorry about that. How embarrassing. I'll put the water in a more sensible place so you don't see my big face. Oh, that rhymed. Well, that's a poem. Put the water in a sensible place so you guys don't need to see my big face. It's even got a rhythm to it. So, someone prepared earlier. Hello, username for 46,100. Catchy name that, but like it. Sienna, I need to make a video on how I use the word brush in certain contexts. It's because I have different sensory brushes and fidget brushes. Yes, you do. You need to do that. Not immediately, 'cause otherwise I'll lose you and I'll be down to 16 and that will upset me. But if you do need to go, then I'm not surprised because this is very random. Oh, here's one, Hard Evidence. Okay, very, very short poem. Hard Evidence. Sherlock took stock of the rock he had just tripped over. Sedimentary, my dear Watson. Get it? Sedimentary, elementary. As the late Barry Cryer said, dissecting a joke is like dissecting a frog. As soon as you do it, the joke or frog dies. A lemon tree. What's a lemon tree? Chickens do have anchors with. I've lost my mind just reading random comments, but you carry on. Frog icon emoji. More of that. Love it. Yeah. So, but Scottish graduate, but Hard Evidence. So yeah, Poetry Corner. It's going all right, I think. Right. In a previous job, I worked. Believe it or not, I worked in a careers department. So I used to coach students into interview technique, how to prepare for an interview and write good CVs and things like that. Which is mad when I think about it. You know, now that I know I'm autistic, because I've always struggled with interviews because a lot of it's based on unwritten rules, unwritten communication. Anyway, when I worked in the careers service, um, I was part of an interview panel and a real interview panel. So people were applying to work in the career service, and this guy, in his presentation, he misspelt the word work, which I thought was really, really funny. And I knew immediately that I'd write a poem about it as soon as the interview was over. So this poem is called Walk Experience. Walk Experience, right, in massive letters on the plasma screen. Yeah, funny. So I've written it from the point of view of um, him, the person who made this unfortunate, easy to make error. Walk Experience. The interview was going well, as far as I could tell. The panel were all smiling, nodding, lapping me up. Then the mood went from sweet to sour, and instead of devouring my brilliance, my leadership, communication skills, and resilience, they focused on my CV, specifically the heading Walk Experience. And one of them said, completely deadpan, we're not sure that your experience with a wok is required for this office-based role? I thank you. Yeah, I thought it was a funny occasion. It's easy to laugh when it's not you. So yeah, poor guy. He was doomed. He probably spent most of the night, several days before planning, thinking about that interview, and he let himself down because he misspelt the word work, which might have been forgivable in a different interview context, but for the fact that he was going for a job in a career service, which was all about work. He misspelt the most important word, other than his name, I suppose. He might misspelt his name. I don't know. Can't remember. I hope you enjoyed that. Oh, elementary. Oh, I see what you did there. Uh, Laura Havoc, sorry, is here. Good to see you. Um, deadpan, deadpan walk. Oh, I'm here all night, everyone. No, really, I'm here all night. Got loads of poems. Oh, put that one over there. I take to work at a place where the employers don't have a sense of humour. Well, likewise. I'll tell you what, I'll read a poem about work, being in the workplace. It's a longer poem. Hopefully, you'll bear with me. Um, and the background to this poem is that I was reading comments by people who had worked for certain companies, excuse me, and they were not happy with those companies. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have bothered to go on the internet and share their memories. So some of these, the comments I'm about to share are genuine, absolutely genuine. And the poem is called "Your Views Are Taken Seriously." So I read the comments and then I've made up the response, the online response to each comment. Some of the staff are not friendly. We suggest you speak with your line manager. Thank you for leaving feedback. My line manager is never here. We are disappointed to read this. Thank you for leaving feedback. I was thrown straight in at the deep end. We are sorry to read this. Health and safety is important to us. Thank you for leaving feedback. Everything is brushed under the carpet. Please could you move some of the things elsewhere? Thank you for leaving feedback. Watching the buck being passed makes me dizzy. We are sorry to read this. The balance of our staff is important to us. Thank you for leaving feedback. The manager spies on people and keeps everyone guessing. Thank you for leaving feedback. We know who you are. The retention of staff is embarrassing. You're fired. Only joking. Thank you for leaving feedback. Inappropriate comments are passed off as humour. Humour is important to us. Thank you for leaving feedback. It's all about making sure the fat cats upstairs are happy. We suggest you speak with your feline manager. Thank you for leaving feedback. I would rather starve than work here another day. Food for thought. Thank you for leaving feedback. Sorry, mangled my words there. Thank you for leaving feedback. Hope you enjoyed that. God, need the water, clearly. Just catch up on all the inevitable praise or correcting my grammar. I don't know. Folks in my workplace like to share puns. Yeah, I'm like the only. I'm the only pun that likes to share puns. That was awful. I have 0 videos on my YouTube, and I somehow have had 2 subscribers. Brilliant. Get you. Um, Scott, I'm now starting to get your style of poetry. If it doesn't click, you have to let it stew for a bit. I think that's pretty much my whole personality, Scott, to be honest. A lot of people don't get it, and then they realise 3 or 4 days later, just when they're walking down the high street, they go, "That guy's a genius." But it's too late then, 'cause they're in the high street, and I'm sitting in my home on my own, editing a YouTube video, probably. So yeah, no, definitely have a sense of humour. Someone who's blind and autistic sometimes have a hard time understanding if someone else is playing or being serious because they rely on tone so heavily. Absolutely fair point. Um, Good thing to speak to people. Indeed. Uh, Clapping emojis. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Your poems are important to us. Thank you for leaving. Yeah, the poems are important well, they were important to me. I think they kind of are. I mean, tonight, if only for tonight's live stream, it's been worth writing poetry on and off for the past 20 years. If only for tonight. They mean a lot. So yeah. Um yeah, yeah, why write poetry? I mean, to get attention? Well, obviously. Um Certainly from my point of view, to try and make people laugh. But yeah, a lot of them are really old. I'm kind of giving them up. But you don't throw them out. I could easily put them in the paper shredder or burnt them or put them in the recycling. Um, but I didn't do that because I thought, yeah, but I put quite a bit of effort into them collectively. Some of them written in a matter of seconds. Sienna, I do love humour and sarcasm. When I hear you around humour and sarcasm, I can tell you it's all fun. Yeah, Ryan likes to play it for laughs. So he's a bit more serious than myself, I'd say. But yeah, he definitely likes to have a laugh. As I'm sure loads of other people on YouTube do. Um, Rooted in Gratitude. Wonder, I like that name, by the way. Rooted in Gratitude. I am rooted in gratitude. Uh, I'm not. You are. I'm also a long-time poem writer. I recently started to read them on YouTube. Oh, cool. Well, I guess your channel is called Rooted in Gratitude. In which case, I need to write it down. Rooted in gratitude. Superb. I'm not sure what deep poetry snap means. I'm sorry, solipsistic bovine. Right. You need to come up with more comments, people, because otherwise, if you don't write comments, I have to share poems. I don't know it's poetry corner, but as you will have gathered by now, some of these poems are stretching the definition of what a poem is. What have we got? We've done that one. Oh, yeah. Here's please, yeah, please, more poems, more poems. Again, absolutely. This next poem I wrote shortly after finding out, very shortly after realizing that I'm autistic. It's about 3 years ago. And it's an autistic love poem, and it's about info dumping, really. And it's a sonnet. That's the clever part. I think it's the only sonnet I've ever written. First date. Did you know that the heart is the size of a fist? I'm not a cardiologist. I'm not an expert by any means, though I know that heart cells contain proteins. It's true, hearts are consumed as food. Sorry, you look sorry, you look like you're in a bad mood. Is it too noisy? Don't you like the venue? That's good. Let's see what's on the menu. So, you know the myocardium? Pardon? No, I don't think you're dumb. I'm not for 1 minute suggesting I'm smart. I'm just intrigued by the workings of the heart. I know you know all this stuff too. Please don't leave. I love you. Yeah, got a bit of terrible acting in that one as well. Oh, an autistic sonnet. There aren't enough autistic sonnets in the world. Or maybe there are. Maybe there's one too many. Sorry. Um, cultural difference, I guess. In my open mic days, we'd snap. I would snap and yeah, 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 yeah. People click their fingers when you share a good word or share a good line. I have to confess, I'm not that keen on it. But I do get it. But yeah, maybe it's just because I'm not used to it. Wow, sonnet. Yeah, I know, I wrote a sonnet. I don't know why I felt compelled to write it. I was like, oh wow, I know I'm autistic now. I'm going to write a poem. And I wrote a sonnet about a first date. I can't quite remember the other reasons why I did that. Um, trying if I had this conversation, then maybe not about the heart muscle. Yeah, I mean, I can't really explain why, even though I've just done a video about it, it's a very short video. I don't know why info dumping or just maybe not even info dumping, just having lots of knowledge and just letting it swirl around in your mind is so delightful for an autistic brain. It's why I like, just wandering around museums and, reading exhibitions, reading plaques and reading, you know, descriptions of long dead poets and painters and just feeding information into my brain. Love it. And then sharing that information or, pop music, for example, just taking absolute joy in it. And I really don't understand why people wouldn't find lots of joy in knowing, you know, a wide variety of facts. But clearly, the majority of the human race would rather talk about the weather than talk about mid-80s guitar music in the UK. Strange to me, but then I'm autistic. Well, don't forget myocardium into a poem. Oh, cheers, Lily. Yeah, I got myocardium into. I had to even look up that word. But such a good word. Sounds nice. Bit of echolalia there. Myocardium. Myocardium. Yeah, poetry. It's good for extending your vocabulary, which is not a very original thing to say. My hyperlexia certainly helped with my amassing of knowledge. I don't mean to be ironic, but remind me, what does hyperlexia mean? See, I need the knowledge. I'm quite happy to admit that I'm ignorant. Yes, info sharing is even better than info imparting, which again is ironic because you're imparting that information. Nice work. Well done, Lily. Read lots, yeah. I don't really read many books, but I'm always reading, if that doesn't sound too odd. Probably too much social media. Yeah, poetry, newspapers. Yeah, struggle to read an actual book, despite sitting in front of a bookcase. That's just for show. I can't read. Well, I can't read. Obviously, I can read, but yeah, I don't read books. My wife, book a day, or a book every 2 days, even when she's working. Not while she's working, but she manages to fit it in. I don't know how. Just incredible. Hyperlexia is where children learn to read at a very young age. I was 2, can affect how we read as adults. Oh wow. Yeah, I remember reading lots of books when I was a kid. I read Lord of the Rings when I was 9. Didn't have a clue what was going on. But then, does anyone? It's about a bunch of wizards. Yeah, I don't remember being too impressed. The Hobbit was good though, in my view. It's good for that, not so nice for communicating with other people because my name. Uh, okay. I suffer from mind wandering while reading, so my reading comprehension sucks unless it's good. Yeah, mine too. I think for me, that's sort of ADHD. Like I'm constantly distracted by my own thoughts. Unless, like you say, I'm really gripped by what I'm reading. But yeah, really struggle with a full book. Hence poetry. So that's a segue into reading more poems because you can dash out a poem, read a poem in seconds, and there's like a sense of accomplishment in that. But a book is, one is a sprint and one's a marathon. Just reading Dad's library books when I was 4. Yeah, brilliant. Right. So I've read the first date one. Short of it, or maybe I'll read another one from the highly esteemed collection, exclamation marks. Maybe I should read the title poem. Would you enjoy that? Yes, I thought you would. Okay. Exclamation marks. Right. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Marks, your son, Carl, has excelled this term. He has achieved almost full marks, if you will excuse the pun. However, whilst we tolerate his regular exclamations about exploitation and alienation, we simply cannot abide his carefree attitude towards punctuation. His work is frequently spoiled by rogue apostrophes, though misplaced commas are much commoner. I could go on about his persistent misuse of semicolons, but I won't labour the point. May I simply add that he would certainly profit from putting a full stop to these errors. I would not want him to start thinking that class is a struggle. There we are. Exclamation marks from the 2016 collection. Yeah, I want another publisher to say, "Oh, we'll publish those poems and then sell 20 copies." I just like it's nice and tangible, like, sort of completion. It's like done, move on. Whereas I've got these bits of paper, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably more about the sense of completion rather than the fact that no one's reading them or appreciating them. But of course, you are tonight, or maybe not. Maybe you're doing that to the screen, like, what, or this. To which I would say, well, it's the alternative to doing that sort of thing, which is just to hop onto someone else's live stream or switch off the computer entirely. But if you are enjoying the poems, do stick around because there are some more. Plenty more where that came from. Let me just catch up. I used to hate reading. Reading was boring. I'd rather listen to the radio. Yeah, I like reading to making me sleepy, but then I get annoyed with myself for not like having more stamina, more reading stamina. I started reading constantly when I was 14. When around 18, just kind of stopped. Yeah, and I kind of stopped around the age of 18, like reading books, which is incredibly annoying because at 18 I went to university, um, Cambridge University, to read, to study English. It's a miracle because I can barely string a sentence together, as I've just proven. So it's very frustrating to, at the age of 18, go, oh, I'm not bothered about books. Yeah, brain, you do realise you've just signed up to study English at Cambridge? Oh, yeah. Oh, I better read some books then. Yeah, you better. I didn't read as many as I should have done. Oops. Um, Roots and Gratitude. OMG lol, that was hilarious. I'm guessing you're talking about the poem. My pleasure. I see what you did there. Yeah, I've written I used that line, I see what you did there, or a variation in a music review that I wrote about an album called The Optometrist. I see what you did there. I'm here all night for these types of puns. Almost started singing then, a bit like the shed person. What's her name? Woodshed Theory. Claire at Woodshed Theory. She sings. I almost did that. Don't know why. I used to read a book a week, but now I'm up to 3, 4 a day. Crikey. Do you have any time to eat or breathe? It's incredible. You must do something else. You must, as MJ said. Bit of RSD, but my awareness of it helps keep it at bay after some quick reflection. RSD. Yeah, I'm gonna have to explain. I'm sorry, I'm being thick. Oh, breathe. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Sorry, MJ. But honestly, 3, 4 books a day. Oh, yeah. Heard the expression. I'm so busy, I haven't even got time to fart. Which is funny because it has the word fart in it, but the idea is funnier. Oh, can't talk, too busy. I haven't even got time to fart. Just the idea of being so busy that you haven't got the time to do that. Uh, that appeals to my childish sense of humour. I wish I'd come up with that phrase myself. Oh, talking of which, rejection sensitivity dysphoria, of course. Yeah. Oh, and I had my worst case of rejection sensitivity or sensitive dysphoria. Um, 6 years ago, when I found out that I my collection of poetry that I'd wanted to be published wasn't selected for publication, and I took it really, really badly. Really badly. I felt completely wounded. Like I put so much effort into compiling these poems. I mean, I've shared a lot of them tonight. Um, and maybe I was just too arrogant. I just thought I've road tested a few of these poems, which I had. I'd shared them, I'd read them at poetry gigs. I thought I'm in with a good chance here. And they said no, we don't want to publish them. They weren't rude about it. They just said not for us. And I took it so badly that I ended up in hospital. I should emphasize that I didn't self-harm or anything like that. So a trigger warning. But I felt like I was having a panic attack. And it's bizarre to think back to it. It's like it's just a bunch of poems. Get over yourself. But the sense of rejection I felt was just savage. And then, fast forward 4 years after that, I'm like, I'm autistic. What's this about rejection sensitive dysphoria? That's me. And so on and so on. So yeah, RSD is something I experienced, and that was probably the worst in my whole life. Um, let's be positive. That was a bit of a depressing detour, but we've got to talk about the sad stuff as well as the fun stuff. Took the article through a book due to bad memory and poor retention, would have to constantly go back and reread parts, something to get referenced later in the book. Yeah, and I thought I was the only person in the world that did that. Honestly, I did. It's so reassuring to know that I'm not the only one that struggles to read for that type of reason. Um, Hyper-focus on my love of non-fiction and I have a high reading speed. I just love learning things. Yeah, I wish I could read rapidly, but I just can't. Being rejected is painful. Yeah, I think if you're autistic and is so regularly misunderstood and misinterpreted, that accumulates and you have a sense of not being worthy. Well, I speak for myself, and so and then when you actually get rejected, like explicitly rejected for something, it's harder to take because you're working in that context of being misunderstood so frequently. I said I would deviate away from the sad stuff. This poem, the last poem in exclamation marks, and it's got, I have to say, one of my favourite words in the whole world, in the whole dictionary. It's called Mrs. Kendall's Leaving Assembly. So this is one for the teachers or the pupils. She got a big bunch of flowers and had to do a speech. She said what a pleasure it had been to teach. She said that what she needed now was a holiday by the beach. She said, I thank you all from the heart of my bottom. The teachers gasped, and the children laughed, and from the heart of her bottom, not the bottom of her heart, she did a little nervous fart. True story. Absolutely mortified for the woman, poor woman, poor woman. Her last day, she wanted to go out on a high, and everyone will remember that woman, not for the 35, 40 years of brilliant teaching, but for the farts. So, yeah, life can give you a kicking, can't it? I suppose it's not RSD. That's just being silly. It's just me trying to connect RSD with a silly made-up poem. Nervous farts are much more common than excited farts. Are they? Nervous farts are much more common than excited farts. Are they? This is a very. I need to know. I need to know the actual answer because information. This is educational purposes. What does everyone else think? But both are always funny, yeah. Yeah, you don't need sorry, I think the last live stream, not the last one, which I did at silly o'clock, but the last one when I tried to schedule it, I ended up talking about childish things. So I'm sorry, and we've got to that point even quicker this time. So I apologise if people are expecting highbrow John Keats, William Shakespeare, Sylvia Plath type poetry, but we're just over the hour and we're into the farts. So, are excited farts more common than nervous farts, or the other way around? This is the true gold in the whole live stream. Solipsistic Bovine has said both are always funny. Jeanette, hello Jeanette. We've got to that silly point in the evening. I apologise. This is so childish. You have joined just at the moment when it's either got much better than the last hour or much worse, depending on whether you like farts. You have joined a conversation about flatulence. Does Richard speak from experience? So, Richard, you said, um, and Jeanette, it will be poetry. In fact, I'll share your poem very shortly. Um, Nervous farts are much more common than excited farts. Um, Now, I'm going to just give you a frank fart confession. In my experience, that's not true. Yeah, because I spend as much time in the house as possible because I'm autistic and I find the world chaotic and stressful. Um, and so I'm in the house most of my life. I get to work from home a lot, which is I'm very lucky to be able to do. Um, and I am, dare I say, partial to the occasional bottom burp. Um, I'm not feeling especially nervous because I'm in my safe space. And if anything, you know, I'm excited because it's a rare noise because I'm not making noises. I'm mute. I'm just hunched over a laptop doing what I need to do to pay the bills. A fart. It's like, oh, I was going to say, where did that come from? Well, I know where it came from. I don't need to go into the anatomical description of its origin. Um, but yeah, I'm not nervous. I'm like, ooh, I'm on edge. I've just passed wind. I'm like, oh, that was a change in the noise levels. Okay, back to that boring job I've got to do. So yeah, I'm not with you on the nervous farts outweighing the excited ones. So I'm glad to have cleared that one up. Well, I hope I did. I will get back to poetry very shortly, just as catch up. Not a fact, just a guess. We'll let you off. Um, do you find farts funny added to autism assessments? Um, it's a superfluous question because the answer is always going to be yes. But I get your point. Having to give speech, I didn't do that in my last work day. You didn't fart during your speech. Oh, okay. Well, I'll read the wedding speech one. Um, I didn't. Spoiler alert! I didn't fart during my wedding speech. And this was my talking about origins. This is the origin of my autism diagnosis, which you'll know if you've watched my first video. Go and watch it. It's dreadfully produced because it's my first one. But you've got to start somewhere. Wedding speech. Never improvise a wedding speech, said my father-in-law just before I planned to give an improvised wedding speech, in which I swore twice and said much more about the traffic on the way to the reception venue than I did about my wife. So I put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off. Um, and then the people who swore at me were people who were cross because we were in a horse-drawn carriage and we were blocking the traffic. And they were going, I can't believe you've done this on a Friday night because that's when we got married. Um, and I was so annoyed that they were shaking their fists and shouting at Rachel and I that I mentioned that in my wedding speech, which I had not planned, and it was a disaster. But I didn't fart, so silver lining. Or maybe that would have improved it because there weren't many laughs. In fact, there was just a big gasp, like Mrs. Kendall's leaving assembly speech. Everyone just went, "That was awful. What have you done? You've not even mentioned your wife." Um, Yeah, great time to join you. Sorry, MJ. I really respect you guys, and I've just brought the tone down. Um, everyone was, everyone was rolling on the floor laughing, but I died inside and never went to brownies again. At home, we call that statements. That, that's well, a bit like a fart. That's by someone else. That's taken me by surprise. That I, I've not farted. I've just made a statement. Absolutely wonderful. Just genius. That. Thank you, Gigi. Um, yeah. Thanks for leaving feedback. Thanks for leaving. Oh, the rubbish joke. I'll move on. Um, hello, Harriet. Laura Havoc, sounds like my unofficial wedding day spent more time talking about music than my boyfriend. Yeah. Giving a wedding speech is just great. I'll never do that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like this because it's, just obviously silly, spontaneous ad-libbing. Um, and what point am I trying to make? I think, like a TED talk, like if it's, they're clearly like scripted or semi-scripted. I've watched plenty of TED Talks. They're really, really very interesting, but, I think it's probably like demand avoidance. I'm like, just don't wanna do what I'm expected to do, which was what happened to me on my wedding day. Oh, I am going to share Jeanette's poem, um, and it's really very good indeed. Um, so I'm gonna completely steal her thunder and read this poem. It's called Promiscuous Mollusks. So it's about snails. It's about snails getting it on. Promiscuous mollusks, slippery and wet, whispering sweet nothings. Are you nearly there yet? Nice. Well done, Jeanette. Great stuff. You got me thinking there about more snail-based poems. If you want to, anyone else wants to write one, have a go. A snail haiku. Should I try and write a snail haiku? Embarrass myself. In fact, no, I'm not going to do it 'cause Jeanette's aced it. She's aced the snail poems. If I think of one, I'll share it another time. Um, my partner and I haven't been bothered with the whole marriage thing. Been together 18 years. Yeah, congratulations, 18 years. Cool. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a bit late in the day for me to say critical things about getting married. But the weird thing is that I really enjoy weddings when it's someone else's weddings. Really enjoy it. But I didn't like it. And bizarrely, given that I've set up this live stream and I'm chuntering away and hoping that people like some of what I'm saying at the very least, bizarrely, I didn't like my own wedding to an extent because it was, I was expected to be the centre of attention. I was the centre of attention with my wife, and I didn't like that. But then it was the reason for being centre of attention which I didn't like because I felt that it was a private matter. Um, but I didn't realise that at the time. Um, but yeah, doing talking about farts and reading poems and talking about autistic experiences, I happily I talk to a million people about that with no notes. Fine, but talking about love in front of 80 people, when I was 26, I wasn't quite ready for that. But you know, live and learn led to my autism realization, and here we are, whiling away the hours on a Friday. Jeanette, haikus are very tricky. Yes, that's 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. So if you want to do that, or I think I've got a limerick. Um, I've got a limerick or haiku. Oh yeah, this it's not particularly. I'll read it anyway. So this is a limerick. It's called Hipster. So after inspired by Edward Lear, the king of limericks. There was a young man with a beard who said, "It is just as I feared. As well as some friction, it's affected my diction, my much maligned old-fashioned beard." It's not that funny. Looks better in writing. Um, yeah, I'll read this one. Not written that long ago. This is about how I met my wife. We met at university on a teacher training course. And in fact, I've just read the first line of the poem. I'll read it again anyway. The poem is called Garage Flowers. We met on a teacher training course. I had a science lesson to prepare, and as usual, I left it to the last minute. Daffodils from the garage were my saviour, and while the lesson was nothing to write home about, I think by the end of it, everyone could tell the difference between a style and a stigma. I rebunched the flowers and gave them to you. The fact that I initially bought them for educational purposes was a fact I didn't need to mention. My resourcefulness was romanceless, and you gave me a detention. There we are. True story. Well, apart from the detention, I was in the doghouse, to use the phrase. I wasn't liked for a day, or maybe 2 days. Can you both get snails pregnant, or is that just slugs? Can both snails get pregnant? I've no idea. So you got everyone started now, Jeanette. Everyone's rummaging through their encyclopedias or looking on Wikipedia. Others will demand of some sort of ceremony before moving in together. Yeah. Family expectations. I think friend expectations as well. Like, seems to be a period in people's lives where like everyone they know is getting married. Like this 3-4 year period, and it's like, yeah, it's like tradition. It's like just you're expected to do it. But like I said, I like people's weddings. My wedding was cool. Really, just that one bit of it that I messed up. Um, no, one snail gets pregnant. I'm glad we're clearing this one up. It would have bugged me. Um, another wedding poem. Do I read that one? I don't know. Maybe you're sick of the poems. I don't know. I think I might be running out of poems. Oh, I'll read this one. Oh, Richard, you've retracted your message. You figured out a snail haiku. Cool. Um, you have to stay home. Yeah, cool. Right, I'm going to read this one, and it's um, it's a true story. It's another work-based poem, and it's about a woman called Wendy. It's called Pause Then Send. I'm sure you'll be able to identify with this one. That sharp moment of horror when you attached the wrong file to an important email. Poor Wendy felt winded as she realised that the photo to go with the press release announcing the new managing director was actually of her cat, Pepsi. Though fair play to the company, which leapt to Wendy's defence, and for a whole week kept up the pretence that the new managing director was quite inexperienced and entirely covered in fur. Yeah, true story that. Wendy just had to grin and bear it. And yeah, we've all been there, Wendy. We've all been there. We've all been given the responsibility of sending the press release and sharing a cat photo when you shouldn't have done so. So yeah, so I think I've pretty much done what I intended to do. What have we got in exclamation marks? To be fair, the cat photo probably got more engagement. Yeah, probably good for the company. I'm trying to think of something cat based, cat based puns. No, clause in the contract. That's rubbish. That's rubbish. That. Well, here is a true story. You're not feline a pun. I've already used a feline pun now. Feline manager, line manager, feline manager. Oh, yeah, done that. Ouch. Yeah, a good ouch. I love puns, dad jokes. Superb. Well, this is a true story. Um, it's called The Vicar's Wife. She runs the baby and toddler group, which is always too noisy. When you say yes to tea or coffee, she huffs and she puffs and she blows a huge sigh. She only buys plain biscuits. At the summer fete, she went around telling everyone she hates bunting. In 48 years, she has been to one wedding, her own, and every funeral in the parish. Her name is Joy. Some of these poems just write themselves. Joy. Joy with a face like thunder. Fancy being called Joy, like your name's Joy, like be your name. Uh, don't find any joy in life, even though I'm called Joy. We call them misery vultures. Yeah, she should have been called Misery Vulture Jones. Didn't see joy coming. Yeah. How can you hate bunting? So it's impossible to hate multicolored bits of triangular material. It's impossible. As soon as I see bunting, I immediately feel 4% happier, which admittedly from my baseline isn't very happy, but it's still an improvement. See bunting. Saw bunting in a place called Gorenhaven, um, in Cornwall, southwest England, and I always remember it. A really steep street bunting for no apparent reason. I don't think there was a festival or anything going on, just bunting. I was like, more of that in the world, please. More bunting, more colour. Only 4%. Yeah. But on that occasion, to be fair, more like 6% happier. That's 2005. That was a long time ago. Um, Never knew it was called bunting. Have I made that up? I don't think I've made that up. My dictionary's behind the computer. Um, so yeah, I just call them flags. Yeah, MJ's done a very good imitation of bunting by using 5 orange icons. Nice work. Yeah, just call them flags. I think we should call flags, like national flags, bunting, and like to demystify um, and help make the world a more peaceful place. So we're solving world peace tonight by calling flags bunting. Just strip out the importance. Just yeah, it's like that's not a flag. That's a piece of bunting. And then bunting is universally happy, and then hopefully the world will be universally happy. Just get along with each other, rather than saying my piece of cloth is more important than your piece of cloth. Yeah, it's like no, it's all bunting. Yeah, see how that pans out. Jingo bunting, yeah. Jingo, that's what flags are, jingo bunting. Sorry, got a bit political there. That's always the danger with me. As much as I despise politics, because yeah, politics is the administration of life, and administration is just you know, doing the things that are necessary, the dull things. There's also notoriously politics is notoriously um, full of conflict, and I'm autistic, and I really hate conflict. I like being part of the solution as well, so that's why I get involved. Can't win. Is there any bunting if there's are several of the little flags on a string? That that might be the criteria. Yeah, I'm glad we're asking these really important soul-searching questions like, are nervous farts more frequent than excitable farts? And Is it only bunting if there are several of the little flags on a string? Which is just an inherently funny question and deserves an answer all the same. I think you're right, Russell. I think, yeah, the answer's within the question, as they used to say in my GCSE maths lessons. Say they. There was only one teacher. Oh, cheers, artist on the spectrum. Um, oh, and I don't know if you were here at the very beginning. While I was making dinner, I glanced at the comments to my info dumping video, and I think it was yourself who said that you worked with Alanis Morissette. So I want to know more. And I was going to ask everyone else, I was going to use that as a way in to find out whether anyone else has got any music stories or, dare I say, name drops. Um, I've got a name drop up my sleeve, not literally. Um, and I've shared it many times before because, it's a name drop that I'm quite pleased about. Um, but yeah, you worked with Alanis Morissette before she worked on the 1995 classic Jagged Little Pill. So, yeah, do feel free to share. Anyone else got any music story or bumped into any famous people? Just want to share if you don't have to. Just thinking out loud. Yeah, Matt LeBlanc was in one of their videos, which I only found out um, when I was making the info dumping video. I thought, wow. And I was straight on the YouTube, and there he was. I've got to hang out with a local band in LA. I've spoken to a new age musician that I love. Cool. I won front row tickets to Tom Petty's last tour concert before he died. Oh, I only really know Free Falling. I don't, I'm sure he's done loads of great songs. What's my name drop? Yeah, my name drop is bumping into Sid Barrett, who is a founding member of Pink Floyd. Bumped into him at university. Yeah, and he was an unwell, quite elderly man at that point. So it wasn't really a brilliant occasion that you might think it was, but still Sid Barrett. He's very, very influential musician. Big influence on David Bowie and many others. Yeah, and I bumped into him. Sang with Simon Le Bon in Manchester Cathedral. I'd take that. I said I would take that. I didn't say take that. Maybe that's my brain's working. Manchester, take that. Cool. I've got to speak with a new age musician twice on video chat. Name is Neil Tatar. I'll have to write that down. This is how my brain thrives. Oh, where's my notepad? I have to write it on. Oh, there it is. Found it. Neil Tatar. Yay, Sid. Yeah, bless him. Nick Talbot from Style Council snogged me at a party. Well, that is getting to know a famous person. Thank you for that, Lily. Mick Talbot from Style Council. Style Council, um, fronted by Paul Weller. Paul Weller, who gave a fantastic and sad tribute to the drummer in the Jam, who sadly passed away last week. Rick. I've forgotten his surname now. It's not very good, is it? Yeah, I was more into the Jam than the Star Council, if I'm honest. Brother's wife's second cousin's dog once met Eddie Van Halen. Yeah, as name drops go, yeah, that's quite tenuous, but you can have it. I just want to make sure I've got these. A few months later, I bragged that MCA was releasing my record. She casually said Madonna was her record company. I haven't seen her for a long time, but she was fun and lovely. Yeah, Alanis Morissette was it's Maverick Records. I remember that. Madonna. Um, but yeah, Alanis Morissette was like a big like pop star in Canada, and then she wrote "You Ought to Know," and yeah, it became this sort of indie. Well, you know this, well, you don't need me to tell you. It's just incredible. But I've been listening to the album through YouTube, Jagged Little Pill, and it still stands up 30 years later. If it came that those songs were released today, in my humble view, people would be going mad for them, and so they should. What an album! Kind of lost interest after that one. I'm info dumping about music. This was just a way to give me a platform to info dump. You fell for my trick. Um, my daughter does a daily fan account on Instagram for Ellie Goulding. We met her coming out uh, of a gig once or twice. Cool. That is cool. Yeah, Ellie Goulding was born in the same place as my wife. Not exactly the same place, but Hereford Hospital. Well, Hereford anyway. I think Ellie Goulding was born in the hospital. So yeah, my wife is from the same place as Ellie Goulding. There we are, connections. My name drops Mel Gibson. Met me a few times in my youth. My family's farm was near his. Well, because of course you're an Oz, aren't you? Mel Gibson is an Aussie. Nice one. Met Gary Newman in a dressing room. He was very shy. Wow, Gary Newman. We're talking about influential musicians. Um, Sid Barrett, Gary Newman, fantastic. Met a few randoms. I've got a photo of Frank Bruno holding me when I was a baby. Where's Frank Bruno these days? Alanis was on a Canadian kids TV show in the 80s. Yeah, again, I only just recently found this out. Um, yeah, she had quite a few years in showbiz before she became mega famous. There's a musical in Jagged Little Pill. Did not know that. I need to check that one out. Yeah, you can't do that on television. That was the name of the kids program. My best friend as a kid is now big musical artist Felix from the Cat Empire. Cool. The Cat Empire. Nice. Thank you. Met Richard Whitehead, Paralympian, when he did a presentation of my work. Coolio. Athletes, yeah, you're allowed to mention athletes as well. I was friends with Father David. He won many Grammys for chanting in the 50s. He was a confidant of Mel Gibson. Wow. Nice one. Bunting. Oh, back to Bunting. If you got Bunting's always going to rise to the surface of any conversation. If you mention it in passing, people will always come back to the Bunting. You can talk about the meaning of life, pop music, the 1988 Olympics. If you've mentioned Bunting in passing, it'll always rise to the top of the conversation. Trust, believe. Bunting has naval origins. 1600s, the bunter was the person responsible for making up strings of lizard facts put at the mast. There we are. Thank you, Russell. So yeah, bunting had to come from somewhere and has a naval origin. Love that. Those sort of facts get me out of bed in the morning. Monty Don met Monty Don after a gardening tour at Highgrove. Not as impressive as most of these. Yeah, Monty Don lives in Herefordshire still, I think. Oh, random connection. Monty Don also went to school in Basingstoke. As did I. Obviously, a different generation though. Ahoy, Lee. Ahoy, all appropriately saying ahoy. That's what they say in the Navy, I think. Most famous person I met was Christopher Reeves, Superman. Wow, that is quite impressive. Met Prince Philip when I got my gold TV. He was only a little bit racist that time. Can you be a little bit racist? You can't be a little bit autistic. You can't be a little bit racist. You're racist or you're not. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, not. I'm not his biggest fan. Talked to someone from Blondie for an hour once. I had no idea who he was. Someone said after the one going out with Debbie Harry. That is a pretty cool name drop. And I couldn't name anyone else in Blondie other than Debbie Harry. But yeah, good work. You met Dr. Zeus. The Dr. Zeus. Isn't it pronounced Dr. Seuss? But people like me say Zeus. Wow, what a legend that guy was. Wow, yeah, you met him, the true Seuss. Wow, that's brilliant. That is really cool. He's just amazing. I never knew it before, but I went a quick deep dive. Yeah, if this live stream and anything that anyone else has said has sparked off a deep dive into anything at all, well, not anything, but you know, an information goldmine, then yeah, good. Met Ray Mears a few times. Nice work. I think yeah, Dr. Zeus. I think it's Theodore someone. Yeah. I'm in Scout Troop. One of the kids' dad was an actor. Ironside from Airwolf. Yeah, it's not Michael someone. The guitarist John Fay gave me his guitar. I met him at secondhand. That name rings a bell, so I'm not overly familiar. Wow. So yeah, we're all just people mingling, aren't we? We're bound to bump into a few famous people, but yeah, I'm feeling a bit silly now sharing my example because your examples seem much more interesting. Cool. Thank you for that. I don't know what sparked that. Famous musicians, famous people. Oh yes, it was the Alanis Morissette connection. Wonderful. Um, to rapping for Lifehouse. TJ Hooker. Well, I'm possibly showing my age now. Cool. Right. Yeah. Now you're all in awe of each other. No effing way. You have a guitar played by John Fahey. Right. Another poem, I think, because that's what you've all come here for. You've not come to share all these wonderful facts and do all this name dropping. I always think of Peter Kay and Phoenix Nights. And, yeah, I bumped into David Williams, and he was all right. I'm not such a big fan now. So you can't do that television show that Green Slime is the best. More poetry, please. Yep, sorry. Frank Zappa. You met Frank Zappa? Cool. Right. Let's try and pick a short poem. Come on, come on. Oh yeah, okay. This one, trigger warning, this one does mention death. Okay. Ready? It's called Auntie Mabel. We'll miss you, Auntie Mabel. If only you hadn't touched that cable. There were better ways to get to grips with technology. Squeezing a fat wire and setting yourself on fire wasn't the best way to learn, though it was a fantastic way to burn. There we are. Moving swiftly on from that. Auntie Mabel, may you rest in peace, but don't do what she did. She did an autistic thing then. Very literally, she got to grips with technology. She paid the ultimate price. We did warn her. Sienna got to rap for a local band in LA, film and sound music. Yeah, I'm not a rapper, as anyone who's seen me at Christmas will testify. And I kind of ballsed up my own terrible joke there, so we'll move swiftly on. I met a bunch of musicians, being one myself, and working in a California music store in the 80s. Is that not the best sort of lead up into a story about bumping into someone famous? I can't think of a better one. Wow, you must have met loads of people. Auntie Mabel's housewarming is not compliant with the latest wiring regulations. Yes, that's probably correct. There's probably another poem there about the incompetence of the people who wired the house. I have got a poem about dodgy electricians, um, but the memory is so painful and the poem is so long that I'm not going to share the poem. It's called The Charge of the Light Brigade, which is, of course, the title of a famous poem by Lord Tennyson. But the Charge of the Light Brigade relates to um, us being essentially robbed of hundreds of pounds for a job that didn't need to be done. Rogue traders and all that. So yeah, the Charge of the Light Brigade, dodgy electricians. Um, a real live wire. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I should have crowbarred that in. Russell Cannon. I got my first electric shock before I could even walk. That sounds grim. Um, yeah. Well, there's a poem in that. That's the thing about bad things, tragedy. There's always a poem. You can have a terrible day and go, well, there's a silver lining here. I can write a poem about what a bad day I've had. So that poem about the guy in the Asda with the tight shorts. I mean, that wasn't a bad day. That was a bad year because of that experience. But it was material for a poem. Met Bob Geldof at the music shop in Bavaria. Did some translating for him and got free gig tickets. Nice. I've had bouts of electric fences on Tip Farm. Twangs a bit. Ouch. You live to tell the tale, obviously. Right, guys. I'm not disappearing for good, but I'm doing what I haven't done in any live stream so far. Um, I need to go for a wee, and you don't need to see that. You've already seen a video of me reading in a toilet, so I'm not going to inflict the sight of me going in the toilet again on you. I'm just going to go and then come back as quickly as possible. So yeah, thank you for sticking around, 19 people. One person's just turned up as I'm about to go to the toilet. I am so sorry, but I'll be right back and I will wash my hands, so it'll be a bit longer. Okay? Talk amongst yourselves, as the teachers say. Oh my God. There are 20 people here. That's unbelievable. Thank you for your patience. Tinkle time. Yep. I had a lot of water. Coffee. Teen gush, we used to call it. Oh, the word gush. Ew. Um, Charge of the Light Brigade, good one. Yeah, the only good thing about that experience, just unbelievably frustrating. Um, with a broken radiogram that we were having taken away, the guy said the cable's still good, may as well cut that off. So while the adults were loading the radiogram onto a van, ellipsis, dot, 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 something happened. Baby me was taking the abandoned lead and plugging it in. Oof. Ouch. So yeah, I'm not going to read the electricity poem. I've already read one. I'm running out of poetry. I've got written a lot of serious poetry in the last year about the genocide, but I'm not going to share that tonight. But yeah, I've written quite a few sort of non-funny. I don't think they're funny. Autism poems, because I'm hoping to publish a collection with another poet called Anthony. He's also just been diagnosed as autistic. But yeah, the poems aren't very funny, but it's been really liberating to write serious poems about being late diagnosed autistic. And I've wrote more poems in a year than I've ever written in previous years. Arlene, just found your channel, subscribe. Fantastic. Keep subscribing to each other's channels. Used to write political poetry when I was a teenager. Well, it's funny you should say that, Richard, because I've got some political poems in a book, which bit of a giveaway because it's called Exclamation Marks. And yeah, should I read this poem? I don't know. Which one should I read? Oh, let's sod it. Let's sod it. I'm going to read a poem about Thatcher. I could barely say her name. And it's called Under the Obscenity Act. And the Obscenity Act was a piece of legislation that I really ought to know whether it was actually passed or whether Thatcher wanted to pass it. I think she wanted to pass it. Just read the second line of the poem. Anyway, Under the Obscenity Act. Ready? Thatcher hated dildos, wanted to ban them, to protect public decency, to prevent physical injury. Though a rubber willy in Chile would have been an acceptable tool if it had helped to advance the Chicago School of Economics. And if it had been revealed that a policeman on horseback on his way to Orgreave had forgotten his truncheon and decided to raid a house in Rotherham for a 12-inch rod from under a housewife's bed, we can be assured that Thatcher would have said nothing in the best interests of the nation. Oh, and here's a Wicker Man Thatcher drawing by my best mate Alex. Oh, can't see it. Too bright. Oh, there we are. Cool, that, isn't it? Um, so yeah, gritty poem about Thatcher. Um, Thatcher Wicker Man is cool, yeah. So that picture is actually for a poem called "The Lady's Not for Burning," but I really don't like the poem anymore, so I'm not going to read it. But at least it was the spark, haha, for Alex to draw this wonderful drawing. Really talented. Um, the worm's not for turning. Why is it that prudish people like that feel that just because they don't like something, they need to ban it for everybody? Yeah, uh, and well, I'm doing what I did with the joke. I'm dissecting it and therefore killing it. Um, I just found it really ironic that Thatcher wanted to ban people from using these toys, and yet at the same time, she was turning a blind eye to just horrific acts of violence and sanctioning them in England. Um, just their hypocrisy is just so blatant. Um, and then someone wrote to my local newspaper um, about the poem that I've just read because Adam, who ran the publishing company, he for some reason he must have been bored. He made a YouTube video about based on the poem that I've just read, and someone who didn't like me very much, or doesn't like me very much, wrote to the local newspaper about my poem that mentions what it mentioned, which I thought was doubly ironic. They were getting cross about my poem when they probably loved Thatcher, and she was doing far worse things than writing silly poems. So you know, none of this is changing the world, but some things just have to be said and written down, don't you think? I don't know. Thatcher is easy material for angry poetry, but I think people forget what an abysmal human being she was, and the legacy. We've seen it every day. Ugh, ugh. I met Margaret Thatcher. I've literally just remembered it was 1982, and I was 10. She asked me if I had school dinners, and I didn't answer her. Silent rebellion. Um, I'm sorry you had that experience, Jeanette. Um, you met her. Crikey, madness. 1982, year of the Falklands, when she was in her pomp. God. Um, yeah, so I gravitated towards one of my arguably special interests, which is how wicked Thatcher was. Just because whatever you think about, whether you whether you're a fan or despise her like I do, um, can't get away from what is almost a fact that she is a very interesting character. Um, yeah, the Iron Lady. I was made to interact and I wouldn't. In true autistic defiance, Jeanette. So you. Stick away our little bottles of tepid school milk. Although someone challenged me on this. I I repeated that, and someone underneath one of my videos said you shouldn't be, or maybe it was in a live stream. They said that you shouldn't be repeating falsehoods. The Labour government introduced the milk snatching to schools. Thatcher just continued it, and I'm like, is that really correct? I'm not so sure. But if it is, then okay, I stand corrected. But she still continued it, just like the Labour government are continuing what the Tory government have been doing or did for 14 years. Doesn't make the Labour government any better. They're doing the same. My dad said, "Well done, lass," and I say to your dad, "Well done for saying well done, lass." So please pass that on. I haven't seen the film Iron Lady. Is it good reputation? Um, is that what's her name? Gillian Anderson from X-Files. Was that her? Anyway, spending way too long talking about Margaret Thatcher, but I did start it with this silly, angry poem. So let's bring it back to more silliness. Yeah, some of these poems I'm not so keen on anymore. It's weird, isn't it? Yeah, I'll read this one. Have I got a poem about bunting? Kind of already done my bunting poem. Um, but I've got a poem about church, which MJ you might appreciate more than some, given your faith. So yeah, I'll read this as more farts and bunting. That should be the title of the next collection if it ever appears. You know, Farts and Bunting by Neil Lawrenson. Um, this one is called Something Original, and a virtual prize to anyone who can guess or who knows for a fact the poet that it's inspired by, and the poem, the particular poem. Something original. Yes, I remember Adelstrop, the church, because one afternoon we went inside and had a look, and I wrote a comment in the visitors' book. Not lovely or peaceful or simply divine. No, something original, a genuine sign of my appreciation. I wrote, well maintained, and for a minute you scowled at me, as if to say I should have been more respectful, more religious, and it seemed that God agreed, as the sky growled and it rained. Now that is a true story. Yeah, I wrote that 20 years ago. Crikey. Anyone know the poet and the poem that one was inspired by? Russell, remember having the Milton Junior School, but not at senior school, which I moved to in '78. Yeah, so that's just before Thatcher came in. But you know, she gets the blame. Good. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that one. I'm just waiting for your poetry guesses. Yeah, she got in '79, May '79. I don't know much poetry outside of Neruda and Rumi. Pablo Neruda, Ode to the Onion, one of my favourites. Thanks, Jeanette. I'm waiting for someone to go, yep, that poem was inspired by. I'll give you a clue. The poem you can go and Google. I'll let you off because I'll never know anyway. The poet is Edward Thomas. He inspired that poem. In fact, the reason I went to Adelstrop in the first place was because Edward Thomas had been there 90 years before. Yeah, 90 years. Still, she did bring in the Section 28. Yeah, the whole chat could just be a list of bad things that she was responsible for. But back to poetry, because it's Poetry Corner. So Edward Thomas was the poet I was inspired by, and the poem that I ripped off. I've written that. I spelled that right. Can't even spell it. It's in the poem, and I need to be accurate because I'm autistic and I like accuracy and truth. Edward Thomas, he was mates with Robert Frost. In fact, Robert Frost encouraged Edward Thomas to start writing poetry. Edward Thomas wrote books for a living, and he only started writing poetry in his 30s, and then he was sent off to fight in the First World War, and he was killed in 1916. Whereas Robert Frost, I think he lived to a ripe old age, if I'm not mistaken. John Cooper Clarke, yeah, he's on tour again. We're talking of age. How old's Cooper Clarke? 100? Fair play to the man. Unbelievable. So yeah, that's that one. Oh, my back. I'm gonna have to go shortly, I think, unless there's a surge in demand for my puns, poetry, and steaming piles of wit. But yeah, I might have to sack off, which is a phrase that I don't think many people use, but I keep using it for some reason. Sack off. What am I talking about? Oh, MJ, cool. Yeah, make me feel a bit better. I don't know. I'll see how it pans out in the next few minutes. But if you need to go, then obviously decision made. I enjoyed some ancient Chinese and Japanese poets, though, at least through translation. I was going to say that's impressive. Yeah, it's a problem with translation, missing plenty of the subtext. Sounds a bit like autistic versus neurotypical communication, doesn't it? Things get lost in translation. John Cooper Clarke, brilliant. I agree. I'm not his biggest fan, but can't argue with how successful he's been, and making poetry accessible, which obviously I think is a good thing. Leonard Cohen has a song called Villanelle of Our Time. At Villanelle is a lyric poem, 19 lines, with only 2 rhymes throughout, and some lines repeated. It is indeed, and I think Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night is a Villanelle. I'm going to have to Google it though. Am I right? Or do I have egg on my face? Villanelle, Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night. I am right. Yay! Yeah, Villanelle. I've never tried to write a Villanelle. Don't know why really. I enjoy your poetry. Let's do it again. Yeah, bring Alanis to the next one, and then maybe Alanis will go, I need to co-write a song with that random dude in England, and then I'll faint and will be incapable of collaborating with Alanis Morissette because I will have hurt my head too much. Yeah, but she's coming to England. She's going to be on tour. And last time I checked, there were tickets, but yeah, talking of hitting the floor, my jaw hit the floor when I saw the price, because it wouldn't just be me going, it'd be 4 people going, which I'm not begrudging my family. In fact, I've booked to go to 2 gigs. Going to see Scissor Sisters, and we are going to see Ben Otwell from a band called Gomez. But I haven't forked out to go and see Alanis Morissette. I'll probably regret it. Tickets are probably sold out now. but are so expensive. And also, if I'm honest, I don't like the idea of that amount of people in one place. Sensory overload. It's like, am I going to have a good time? Got to go to Cardiff. I said England, Wales, and England. Nearest place to me is Cardiff, and yeah. But if Alanis wants to collaborate, then just let her know that I'm here. That'd be amazing. Right, water. Last of the innocents, in a sense. Oh, crikey. Did you hear that? Police or ambulance, whatever. Um, yeah. So I'm going to see Scissor Sisters in Birmingham. And there's going to be 4,000 people there. So that's maybe more. Just about deal with that. And then, well, the gig 2 days before that, there'll be about 300 people. I think I can deal with that. Yeah. Cool. Right, let's just see if I've got any more poems, and I might be winding up. But yeah, I don't want to leave without sharing some good ones. What have we got here? Yeah, it's not got much of a punchline. Do you like punchlines? Don't know why I like trying to do funny stuff so much. I watch a lot of autism YouTube videos, and not trying to come across as too critical because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making it up. But I just wonder whether people are too serious. I know maybe it's just me, just like trying to be funny. But yeah, I think maybe Orion kind of where I should aim to be, like, be a bit more serious than I am. Um, Thank you, Scott. This was a nice part of my work day today. Yeah. My only fear of constant is overload, but thankfully got disabled seating arrangement. Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering whether I should drink like properly. I'm about it occasionally, but having some sort of disabled identification, um, because it would save the stress of having to explain. But I don't like the sunflower lanyard because, get this, I don't like the yellow green combination. I should just get it and see what happens. I'm too serious and funny and my videos. I'm trying to. It's not. Yeah, I'm. People think that. Well, they don't think about me at all. But if they do, they think, "Oh, he's a bit serious." But then that's the mono face, the bum face. Um, but yeah, just I don't know. Just, just quite surprised that quite a lot of videos are playing it entirely straight. But then, don't get me wrong. I've That's how I found out I'm autistic. I found a huge amount of comfort through those very sort of direct, serious videos about autism. Don't get me wrong, it's been hugely valuable, life changing. Um, but yeah, I'm not saying everyone should try and do what I'm doing. I'm not saying that we should all be the same. I'm just saying that the format of YouTube and, dare I say, autism itself has a lot of opportunities for being funny, I guess. I'll probably regret saying this tomorrow morning, but I can't blame it on alcohol because I'm only drinking water. I think the important thing is with the YouTube, you know, like being autistic, be yourself. Try and do funny videos when that's not your comfort zone, or you try and do serious videos and that's not your comfort zone, then people will quickly see right through you. So stick to what you want to do, and you'll find an audience. Um, MJ, have no humour. See, that's maybe not gut laugh, but that's funny to me. Of course, you've got humour, just different. Maybe I've monochromed sunflower for the poets in the crowd. Yeah, just don't like the big green yellow lanyard, which is sort of minor sensory overload. If that's not too much of a contradiction, um, just don't like the colours. Neil, were you just reading from the published book of your work? Yes, I was published, but the only published book of my work. Exclamation marks. The red card. Send him off. Um, yeah, thought I would have about 3 books by now, but you know, chuffed, really. Chuffed I've got one out of the way. One out of the way. It's not the way to say it. Um, your levity is always appreciated. Thank you, Richard. Excuse me. Water was fighting back then. Yeah, I probably dug myself a big hole about humour and autism, but I've said it now. I think the point is variety and hearing as many autistic voices as possible. To if only to make the point that you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. What really annoys me, I'm talking about stylistic differences. That, that's the substance is more important than the. Um, it's the what presenting rather than how. That's more important. And what really annoys me is when you type in autism into YouTube, the first results are, in my view, just well, most of them are just dreadful. They're not, the implication that autism is this dreadful tragedy and it's only kids that are autistic. I think we need these autistic voices to change the algorithm so that those autistic videos get bumped up and take the place of these really morose, um, inaccurate videos that give autism and autistic people a bad rep, in my view. And also, I'm just jealous that all these awful videos have got hundreds of thousands of views and mine haven't. That's really the main point. Julie at Megadeth. What's that? Is that a band? Collins, I think it's a badge you can get. Yeah, I should get the badge. Oh, overwhelming smell of patchouli. Oh, Judas Priest, Megadeth. Cool. Yeah, and one thing that Orin, who sometimes comes to the live streams and comments on some of my videos, he's emailed me some band recommendations. And in fact, I should find one. Where is it? Bear with me. So if you like heavy rock, then you need to check out this band. They're fantastic. Saudi Arabian death metal band. Check that out. First 2 things that came up for me if I search autism is a Duke University video on autism and a TED talk. Yeah, it wasn't for me, but because, like I said, TED talks. I've watched at least a couple of autism TED Talks, and pretty good. But yeah, just I just think because people are going to go on YouTube, like if they could think that they are autistic or someone in their family's autistic or their partner's autistic, they're going to go on YouTube, they're going to type in autism, and it just annoys me that um, you're not getting the Orion Kellys or Yosemite Sams or Foster on the Spectrum or Zebra Not Horse or Autistic Jenny, Creative Autistic. Those videos you have to work harder to find, and that just annoys me because I love those channels I've just mentioned and other channels. Um, and I think the only way that the authentic autistic voices are going to be heard more than you know, the Autism Speaks or whatever it might be of the world, um, the only way that's going to change is if we keep making content and keep having conversations like this, and little by little, making actually autistic voices more prominent than organisations or professionals who claim to speak for us. And sorry, I didn't mean to go off on one, but it does genuinely annoy me. I mean, I love having this little tiny corner of YouTube. Absolutely love it. Huge impact on my mental health the last 14, 15 months. Really, really important to me. I'm cushy, I'm fine. I'm not chasing the numbers. But when you see a video's got 500,000 views and it's about autism spectrum disorder and the symptoms of, it's like, what? Stop pathologizing me, making out that I'm this sort of deviant, this problem in life. Just a quiet, very short, very pasty-faced, pale-faced person making silly videos. I'm not this danger, this massive burden that these very well-watched videos make me out to be, you know? I don't like it. I don't like being patronized. So anyway, let's talk about fun stuff again. I love loud music, but I have to be expecting it or in control of it. Yeah. Yeah, it's the thing. People say, "Oh, I thought you're autistic. You don't like loud noises." Yeah, I like the loud noises when I can predict the noises, like I'm in control. I'll give you an example. Um, I'm in the kitchen making dinner, and one of my kids drops a frying pan on the floor. Now, I'm probably listening to Massive Attack or Rage Against the Machine or Pulp or Gomez or whatever, very loudly on a knackered stereo, because I'm too tight to get a proper what do you call it these days? Wi-Fi player? I don't know, but that loud noise, fine, because I'm in control of it, and I'm expecting the songs. Drop a pan on the floor, that it's physically painful. Um, my family don't get this. They're like, "Oh, you've just been fussy." Like, it's physically painful up there. I'm not being a grump just for effect. I'm autistic. That noise, unexpected noise, creates an effect which is not very pleasant at all. But playing Killing in the Name of by Rage Against the Machine on repeat, that's literally music to my ears. And my brain is going, love that. So, you know, probably ought to do a video about that just so I can name drop or, mention band names. Um, so let me just catch up on comments. TED Talk by Nat Hawley, Exceptional Individuals. Good. Yeah, I've heard of Exceptional Individuals. Yeah, thank you for that, Lee. But there it is. Nat Hawley. I'm writing all this down, and ADHD fashion, all new things, and then I'll get back to my list and go, oh, I'm not interested. But I hope I will still be interested tomorrow morning. Zebra or just as I just love the cross, not collaboration, subscribing. Good for you. Zebra Not Horse, Artists on Spectrum. Go, all of you. Subscribe to those channels. My taste has changed a bit though. I still love all the 80s music. Good. Hang on. Let me go back up here. Several serious online. I'm 92% likely to be neurodivergent. Richard, you used to love pop. You used to love pop. They're going to be back on tour this year, I think. I think Neil resembles Jarvis Cocker younger. Obviously, I'm too puffy in the face to look like Jarvis. Maybe when I was running a lot, I might have looked a little bit like him. For me, it's not necessarily a single element. It's when there are many different ones at once. Yeah, it's one reason why I struggle with films so much. I need the subtitles. I just, like I'm watching a film. I'm just going to sound really grumpy, but my cat's breathing. I'm like, can you not breathe so I can listen to that film or hear the film? It's like the cat's looking at me like, well, obviously I'm not going to hold my breath for 90 minutes while you can watch a rom-com that you didn't want to watch anyway. It's like, well, I didn't expect you to have such an articulate response to my request that you not breathe, but you have got a good point, Cat. So yeah. So yeah, multiple noises, simultaneous noises. No, I can't hear. I went for last Sunday. My wife paid for me. No, in fact, I had to pay. I paid for it in the end because I didn't listen to instructions. But it was meant to be a gift, and I had a massage. Get me, I'm middle class as that, and they played that weird, not weird, but relaxing music, which I didn't find especially relaxing. I found it a bit twee and annoying. It's just like this constant sort of arpeggio with whooshing sounds. Anyway, the point is that the masseuse or the massager, I don't know what the job title is. She said like two or three things to me, like take your shoes off, um, you put your legs down, or what? And I kept saying, "Sorry, would you mind repeating that? Sorry, would you mind repeating that?" And the only thing that her voice was competing with was the noise, the bland music in the background. But my brain was like, oh, there's two things going on at the same time. Sorry, can't deal with that. Oh, and I felt really conscious that I kept asking this person to repeat what she was saying, and I could tell she was thinking, "Who is this guy? He's only in his 40s, acting like he's 110. He can't hear. I'm autistic. I can't hear very well when lots of noises are happening at once, or when two noises are happening at once." Yeah. Usually noises that mess with me are low humming sounds from machines or the wind. I despise the wind. Ah, but what wind? Nervous wind or excitable wind? So I don't know why I did the Santa laugh there. I hate this loud ads on TV where the guys talk fast, loud, and relentlessly. Yeah, I just hate ads in general, really. Um, Jeanette got there first, not for accidents, wind, proper gusty wind. And I could only hear that in a Yorkshire accent. Thank you for that. Um, my pleasure, artist on spectrum. High pitched whine on TV after an explosion. Indeed. Transformers. Yeah. You've expressed your feelings about the wind and have been looked at as though I was completely insane. Well, again, the purpose of doing a live stream, you just connect with people with similar experiences. Love it. Talking cat, that's what others might notice. Yeah, good one. Yeah. Yeah. Nice one. I like that. Don't like chatting with people. News reports. Yeah. It's just a lot of noise, isn't it? Again, another reason to sit at home and make a YouTube video because it's just overwhelming. It's just makes a lot of it just seems so directionless, purposeless, just filling in space. Um, it's like, well, don't. There's no need for it. Just be. But then I'm a hypocrite because I really struggle to just be because ADHD brain, like having to make connections with randomness. So meditation, for example, I just can't do it. And the massage, I was like, the whole purpose is to not have a purpose, just be, just let that person do that expensive thing and then go home feeling relaxed. And I did to an extent, but my brain was just constant, you know. So I guess that's the point, really. Like my brain is busy anyway, so going out into the outside world, another 10 layers of busyness that I don't need because I've already got a brain that's like a traffic jam in Los Angeles or l'Arc de Triomphe in Paris, just like, you know, I'm nicking the inside out type metaphor, like my thoughts are like the cars, like bumping against each other. It's just chaos. So going outside is just more chaos, other people's chaos. And I can't navigate it very well because I'm autistic and they're mostly neurotypical. And I offend them with my presence. Um, well, by the elite, sorry if you've already gone. Up early to collect the motorcycle. Yeah, I'll be off soon as well. Said that half an hour ago. Um, Massage with monochrome lanyard. Now that's not a sentence I thought I'd read out tonight. Indeed. Um, yeah, meditation, the brain won't switch off. Can I do it, man? You can't just be because your head is full of bees. My head's always buzzing. My head is a hive. That's a better metaphor, isn't it? My head is a hive. Um, the thoughts are bees. And if I can't relax when I go for a massage, I'm going to have to think of something else to help me relax. I'm going to have to think of a plan B. I'm so sorry. My meditation is playing my guitar, the only relief from the incessant brain chatter. Yeah, I play the guitar occasionally to relax. Guitar's over there, but I'm not going to inflict it on you. My head is full of bees in a fog. Yeah, yeah, it's a good way of describing mine. Things like smoking or drinking alcohol the first time you know something's meant to happen. You don't know it's going to be like it started happening. Meditation, I mean. Um, yeah, yeah, smoking and drinking for the first time. Yeah, so you just kind of waiting for that, whatever the feeling is. Um, yeah, maybe I should treat it like that. Maybe that would help me meditate, just to be a bit more patient. Um, Getting haircuts gives me sensory overload, and I also find it too intimate. I started cutting my own hair. Um, yeah, I mean, I kind of depends on the hairdresser, but it's like ASMR vibe if they just do the hair cutting and don't talk. But yeah, kind of been a bit desensitized to ASMR, like the YouTube videos anyway. I still insist on playing them when I'm, working and listening. Um, but yeah. Um, Anyone else find you have no choice or special interest? I have a special interest that I see recommended. Brain says, forget your old interest. We're going to focus on this now. Uh, yeah, I suppose you're right. I mean, never consciously said I'm going to be obsessed with football or I'm going to be obsessed with indie music and pop music or maps or running or autism. Never consciously said, right, that's it. That's your focus now. Just happens. But I do personally come back to the same special interest like poetry. So started writing poetry 23 years ago and lose interest in it, come back to it, lose interest, come back to it. So I do have like these steady special interests. Um, Whereas some things I'll be interested in for a very short period of time and then move swiftly on. And I can't think of an example, but I just know it happens. Um, yeah, fickle is a good word. Fickle interests. Autism is the current one for me. Yeah, that's the beautiful irony. Autistic people being very deeply interested in autism. And why wouldn't you be when it's your own brain? And especially if you're late diagnosed, it's like a revelation. It's intoxicating to feel a new special interest. Absolutely. They're just I don't understand how people don't have special interests. It's like a reason to get up in the morning. So not having a special interest is bizarre to me. Like you just get up and see what happens. And I'm autistic. I can't do that. I need to have a purpose. Something that I love thinking about and talking about. I'm currently watching endless videos on the history of life on Earth. Cool. Does anyone else listen to watch the Audio HD podcast Weirds of a Feather? Oh no. Noted. Yeah, I really ought to make more effort with podcasts. Oh, you reminded me of I think I might take the audio from the longer videos on my YouTube and put it on a podcast. Probably no one will listen to it, but I did enjoy doing a podcast during lockdown. Um, and you never know. Like with YouTube, you just don't know who's going to stumble upon your podcast or your YouTube channel. And that person might be one person, might be thinking, am I autistic? I'm not sure. I'll listen to this podcast, watch this YouTube video to help me figure it out. And your podcast, your YouTube video could change someone's life. So, yeah, we would listen. Thank you, Richard. Um, Yeah, the thing is that, like I said, I did the podcast during lockdown, um, and they were 20-minute, 15, 20-minute episodes. And like with the YouTube videos, I spent hours editing them, and it kind of put me off. I think the trick is with a podcast is to just talk and then upload the audio, because otherwise you'll spend huge amounts of time that you might not have. Um, but then I say that again, I spend the hours on the YouTube videos, but yeah, I couldn't do YouTube and podcast to the same perfectionist extent. It's not sustainable. Well, I wish it was just my full-time job. Like some lucky people or hardworking people have made it their livelihood. Good for them. I'm not jealous. Um, yeah, podcasts are good for driving. See, I don't even know what the figures are, what percentage of people listen to podcasts as opposed to the radio. I mean, maybe it's millions. Um, but again, that's the wrong way of looking at it. It's chasing numbers. I should just do the podcast if I want to do it. And I think I will. Maybe when I've done a couple more of the longer YouTube videos and just take the audio out. Um, then, 3, 4, 5, you know, audio recordings. That's beginning to look like a podcast series or half a podcast series. So I might just stockpile the audio and then upload them one a week or something. MJ's gone. Okay, thank you, MJ. I'm going to be going shortly. You keep saying that. Good morning, academic omnifarious. Have you just turned up? And I've just done that thing where I say good, I'm saying I'm going, and then someone turns up when I'm saying that, like Autistic Jenny did. I said, right, everyone, I'm off, and then Autistic Jenny just turned up. I was like, oh no, it looks like I'm going just because you've turned up. What's Life on Earth 2 channel? There's a guy's channel. His name I can't think of the top of my head. Benji Thomas is the name. Good. It's fine. I need to do stuff. I just need to say hi because I saw you live. Well, hello to you, and thank you for your kind comments and support over the last few months. Cool. I think we're gradually coming to a close. Sorry if you've just turned up and you're annoyed that I'm not sharing poetry. I've lost count how many poems I've shared tonight. I've shared gifts. Let me just do one last check to see if there's one that I desperately want to share, and talk amongst yourselves. What experience are there difference? Oh, I've got a naughty. I've got a rude one. Do that one. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So it's called Let Us Have a Feel. Okay. So let us have a feel. Oh, Lee, you might be in Blacon in the morning. I'll greet it for you. Up in Cheshire. Right, let us have a feel. At the start of this year's naked gardening competition, everyone agreed that it was not inevitable that nudity and vegetables should result in casual smut. But this made it hard to say anything literal without being accused of being rude. So when Geoffrey carried his enormous marrow in a wheelbarrow, and Colette cradled Colin's courgette, and Patricia pushed her pumpkins together, everyone kept their mouths shut and simply admired each other's vegetables, which, after all, is what they came for. Thank you. Yeah. I think I might have CM Vance, USA F87. Thank you. Classy, not going for the obvious coconuts. Yeah. No, I have to confess that wasn't a deliberate decision. I just obviously forgot about the coconuts. But I like the comment that it makes it classy that I didn't mention coconuts, but I did mention pumpkins. Yeah, that's the sort of poem that goes down really badly for certain audiences who are expecting poetry of a certain standard and subject matter. But it's about an innocent village vegetable competition. So if you read anything into it, and you're the one with the filthy mind, not me. Fab Thatcher would disapprove. I know, yeah, good. Roll around in your grave. Sorry, that was a bit vindictive. Um, can you hear? Or sorry, can you hear this? Yeah, I'm making vegetable-based puns, and they're rude and naughty. Yeah, rude and naughty. Yeah, fight the power with vegetable-based poetry. Again, that's not a sentence I thought I'd read out tonight. That's how the live streams go. I'm not going to read that one out for a bit too grim. I got back into the swing of the poetry. And story runs. Is she still a concern these days? She is, just because we live in a late capitalist era, and the powers that be seem infatuated with her, despite her having been dead for 12 years. She was only ever a figurehead for a much bigger machine, and the machine spawns itself and renames itself. Save some poetry for the next corner. Good idea, Richard. Yeah, might be scraping the barrel. Thing is, I've read most of the funny ones, so if I do this again, it might be a bit more po-faced and direct. I've got plenty of autism poems. Maybe that'll go down a lot better than the silly vegetable poems and puns. So yeah, tell you what, I'll call it a night for the poetry. And yeah, do this again. Do feel free to share your own poetry and recommendations as well. Any leaders just to figure out for the party, absolutely. Just someone's in the States. My slow processing will get that poem later. Yeah, that's fine. Better late than never. I tell a joke, you laugh 4 days later. That's fine. It's better than not laughing at all. Is that Lee? No more poetry, please, or no, comma, more poetry, please. See that this is the punctuation that Karl Marx struggled with back in class. Let's say it's been swelled, but the swelling's gone. Okay, Richard, good luck with the reduction in your swelling. It has been swell. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a night as well. God, it's 10:05. Um, should have realised that. No comma, no coma. Good. Um, yeah, definitely up for doing this again. Um, once a month seems, well, I say seems sensible. I'd scheduled in one at the end of Jan, one at the end of Feb, did a random one a couple of weeks ago. Um, really enjoyed it just as much as I would have done when I plan it, like tonight. Well, when I say plan, obviously all of this garbled nonsense is unplanned. And the scheduling, I have a problem with the scheduling. So when I next do this, hopefully there won't be that faff for the third time. And yeah, maybe one towards the end of March, maybe sooner. I don't know. See how quickly I can fix that problem that I've mentioned a couple of times, well, more than a couple of times tonight. And yeah, go and catch, um, you know, Artist on the Spectrum, Zebra Not Horse. In fact, I've got a Word document of channels, but there's so it's such a long list. Tube channels. Oh, where is it? Autism channels. Oh, there we are. Woodshed theory. In fact, I pinched this from Creative Autistic. That's right. Autistic AF. Holly Oddly, Ember Green, Proudly Autistic, Autistomatic, Lyric Rivera. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is do go and search other autistic YouTube channels. And if you want to start your own, go for it. I'd be happy to give my advice if you ever wanted it. Not that I'm some sort of expert, but only as a very enthusiastic amateur might be able to help out. Um, and before I disappear, let me just mop up. That's the wrong phrase, but you know what I mean. Laura Havoc has gone, or is going. Thank you. Not for going. I mean, thank you for being here and then going. Do you know, I'm sure I've got more mollusk poems in me or something equally ridiculous. Um, yeah, there's poem. I hope so. You write like a dream. It's brilliant. Tom Gunn was it? Considering the snail. Considering this. This is probably the only other snail poem that I'm aware of. I really like it. Tom Gunn's poetry for me is quite tricky a lot of the time, but I understand considering the snail. Janit's going. Been a really good one. Oh, you might have gone already. Right on the spectrum, absolutely. Yeah, nice crowd. Has been a very nice crowd. Thank you, P Love 7. Community post the list, maybe. That's a good idea. Although it's not my list, it's Creative Autistics, and I don't want to take credit. But it's a really good idea, though. Let me write it down. Oh, come on. Write it now. Can't even get round to it. Community post. YouTube channels. Thank you, Lee. Yeah, good idea. Thanks for leaving feedback. Nice one, Richard. Ode to Slug post-punk song by Dr. Crippins. Oh. Love a bit of post-punk. Superb. Maybe get a bigger notebook. Yeah, I'll make a note to self to get a bigger notebook. Um, this was my snail haiku. Go out and slow though. Well, I'd get there in the end. Ah, see what you did there. Cool. Well, do keep up with the poetry writing and the YouTubing and being autistic and fighting your own autistic poetry corner. I don't really know what I'm trying to say there. I must be tired. Thank you so much for being here tonight, which sounds horribly formal, but I'm rubbish at ending conversations or monologues. Which, if you've been to any of my previous live streams, you'll have known that. Really chuffed that people turned up tonight, and yeah, don't know if the next one will be an impromptu, just random, or whether I'll stick it in the diary and hope people turn up. But it's been brilliant. Always love doing these. 3 hours or almost 3 hours seems like an hour, if that. I'm sure it felt longer for you. Sorry. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and because I'm childish like that. Um, and catch up with you another time fairly soon, hopefully. So I'll give everyone an opportunity to post something in the chat if they want to. Yeah, have a great weekend. Try and relax better than I can relax. I'll be thinking about my next YouTube video, which bizarrely I find relaxing. Hope you're doing something more exciting than I am, which is staying indoors a lot of the time. And I will leave you in peace. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye. Bye.